Alright, so today I'm going to do a short tutorial on image editing using a tool called GIMP. GIMP is a free image editor that you can use to edit images and manipulate them. I will put a link to where you can download it in the notes for this video and also on the blog post. So after you download and install GIMP, this is what it looks like. So we can open our file. Let me find it here. And so it's opening. This is quite a large image, and so one of the things I'm going to show is how to shrink an image so it can more easily be used on a website or sent to a friend or just made smaller so it's easier to store, so it doesn't take up quite so much space. You can see up here at the top the name of the file and, among other things, the size. Now this is 10,000 by 5,000 pixels, which is extremely large. For comparison, my screen here is 1920 by 1200. So as you can see, that picture is extremely large. And for most purposes, you really don't need an image that's that large. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to scale it down. So we can do image, scale image. You want to make sure you have this little chain symbol set to locked. That means it will keep the scale so that when you do shrink it, it won't be distorted. And at that point, you can pretty much change either of these values, either the width or the height, to whatever you want. Some standard values are 800 by 600 or any proportion of that, but this image might not be a proportion of those. So just lower it to something you think is reasonable, say 800 wide, and we can see that that will result in an image that's 800 pixels wide and 386 high. And that's probably reasonable. So we can go ahead and hit scale, and there it is. Now you'll notice that it's quite small, and you think to yourself, that's not 800 by 386. And the reason for that is because it was so large before, GIMP automatically scaled it to 18%. And after we scaled it down to a more reasonable size, it stayed at 18%. So if you want to look at it full, change it to 100%. There it is. That's our 800 by 386 image. It's much more reasonable if you want to put it on the web or put in an email. Now, other things that people like to do with images, such as crop. So if you want to crop, we come over to this toolbox here. We find the crop tool, and this is it right here. It looks like an X-Acto knife. So we click on that, and we click and drag the area that we want to crop. Now I just want one of these butterflies, so I select that area, and you can easily extend it out to the corners so you're getting all of the area that you want. Adjust the size like so, and then when you're ready, you can either click or press enter, as it says down here. And there you go, your cropped image. Another thing that is quite common, especially recently with the use of smartphone cameras, is the need to rotate an image. And the way we do that is we go to Image, Transform, and we can choose one of these options. We can flip it, which will rotate it 180 degrees either direction, or we can choose one of these options. Rotate 90 degrees clockwise, counterclockwise, or 180. So obviously this image is already correct, but we'll go ahead and choose rotate 90 degrees clockwise. And it does it for us there. If we wanted to do something else, there are plenty of other options up here that let you do other things. And when you're finally done and you want to save this, you go to File, Export, not Save. Save will save it in a GIMP format so that if you retrieve it again, it will have all of your changes saved so that you can undo them and redo them and edit individual parts. Export lets you export it to an image that will take all of those changes and compress them into a smaller but uneditable image. So this brings up the export image dialog, and we can open up this here to choose which format we want. As you can see, there's quite a few. A common one for use in the web is JPEGs, also PNGs, or PNG depending on how you pronounce it. Personally, when I'm using an image like this, I like to use JPEGs. So we choose that one, and we hit export. Now it's saying I already have one there. It's right, so I should probably change the name. Underscore scaled. And then we'll hit export. And then it brings up this dialog box, exporting image as JPEG. And this allows you to do some more manipulation with the image before you export it. You can choose quality. Obviously, will let you choose how high quality you want the image to be. If it's 100%, you'll get everything it could possibly be, but that image might be rather large. If you change it to 50%, you'll get half the quality and half the size. Personally, since we've scaled this down, it shouldn't be too bad, and I'm going to put it all the way up at 100. And then there's these other options, which you probably won't ever want to mess with. At this point, you can say export, and it exported it. So those are some easy methods to manipulate images and change them in ways that you might need to. GIMP is a very powerful tool. It's capable of doing anything that Photoshop could, but it does require some learning. So if you want to get into that, there are plenty of other tutorials out there. And to be honest, I probably don't know very much about them myself. But it's pretty powerful if you learn about it.